Devontae Parker was intercepted in the end zone by Justin Simmons. It's a bang play, but the pick is made, and so Tua on the bench. The Dolphins' win streak comes to an end.
Tua wasn't injured. We just felt like it was the best move at that point in the game. We had to get in a 2-minute mode, and we just felt like he gave us the best chance to win the game.
Do you leave this game needing to make any wholesale change at the quarterback position? Do you
No.
Fitz going to be in line to be a starter, or
no changes?
So, Dan Orlovsky, let's take a moment and live in this for a minute here. No injury to Tua. He just felt that Fitzpatrick gave them the better chance to win that game in that moment. As a quarterback yourself, what is your reaction to the way that was handled?
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it because this is the first time in Tua's NFL career, brief as it is, where he's faced with resistance, where he's faced with, like, the reality of what it's like to play in the NFL, that it's sometimes really, really difficult. And sometimes you get your butt kicked and you don't play good. And there's a moment in the game where you're like, okay, this is when I'm still in a 10-point game. I still got a chance to go win this football game that every young player goes through at some point. And it's the first time that he's met with that, and they pull him. So I hate that. My second thing is this. Do they think that he does not have greatness inside of him? Because it would have taken greatness. Your offensive line getting handled. You're on the road. Can you muster up greatness to go lead your team back to one of those really kind of moment-building or momentous comeback wins? So that's my first two kind of reactions to it. My last reaction is this. Brian Flores has 100% earned the right to make that choice. Over the last 18 months, every button he has pressed has worked for that football team. And I've questioned a lot of them. And so I can't sit here this morning, Greeny, and question the move because every other one has worked out the right way. Tua can be the better player, but he felt like Ryan Fitzpatrick in that moment was the better option. And so as much as I hate it, I can't question it from Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins.
RC, what do you think?
You know what? That was going to be where I started, was where Dan ended. You know, I respect Brian Flores so much, and we had to wait to see if the Tua decision was right, even though we felt like Fitzpatrick was playing good enough. And we started to see some things, and we were sitting here talking about how great Tua looked, how good this team looked playing from ahead, special teams touchdowns, defensive touchdowns. But this was the first time we were going to get to see it, right? We got to watch him get hit, which we all worried about. And when I was tweeting about Justin Herbert, when I was tweeting about Joe Burrow early on in the season and asking had Miami taken the wrong dude, think about Joe Burrow and what he did week 1 against the Los Angeles Chargers. He had to make a 2-minute drive. He made that drive. It was an OPI that took a touchdown away. Right. It was a calf cramp by a kicker that took the field goal away to go into overtime. The first time Justin Herbert stood on the field, he stood across from Patrick Mahomes, and it was no pulling him. And so you wouldn't pull those two dudes. Why pull Tua Tagovailoa? Give him that chance. Let him rock. If you believe he's the best chance to win the playoff game, because this team is playoff ready. This team is ready to win now. And if he can't have a 2-minute drive, if he can't come back from adversity, he ain't giving your team the best chance to win. Right. And the thing I respected about Brian Flores was he always made the decision that gave his team the best chance to win. And that's what I thought Tua Tagovailoa being the starting quarterback was.
Now, Rex, you obviously are the one who of this group who might have had to make a decision like this. Right. Did you think he did the right or the wrong thing pulling Tua when he did?
Well, look, this is crazy. I only did it once in my entire head coaching career, 8 years, where I pulled the starter. But watching that game, I was like, they got to pull him. Like, literally, because he played so darn small, and that's what bothered me the most. When you could push that pocket on him, we talked about all the sacks he took and things, but it looked like they could have stayed out there all day and not moved the ball. So I think, you know, Fitzpatrick, we know he can be Fitzmagic. He can also be Fitztragic, and we saw both a little bit. He kind of gave him that little spark about here comes Fitzmagic, and we saw the interception at the end there, that Fitztragic, but quite honestly, he could have thrown 3 interceptions. Here's another one here, and that's why I'm saying the move going forward is the right move of going right back to Tua.
Okay, so that was my question. Does it show to you that the coach has any lack of confidence in Tua?
No, absolutely 100% doesn't. He has confidence in Tua. He also has confidence in a backup quarterback that has a little flash to him. And to me, he needed momentum. That's why he made the move.
All right, much more from the NFL coming up as we continue here. But let me run the floor through a bunch of NBA moves that got made yesterday. In case you didn't see this, there was a bunch of stuff, and it begins with huge money for Jason Tatum and the Celtics. He's agreed to a 5-year extension with Boston for at least $163 million. With incentives, it goes up to that number you see there of $195. He's 22 years old, made his first All-Star team last year, led Boston to the conference finals. We're also getting paid. Gordon Hayward, now the former Celtic, signs a 4-year, $120 million contract with Charlotte. He spent 3 mostly disappointing seasons in Boston, ended up missing 142 games because of injuries after missing just 42 his first 7 years in Utah. And speaking of Utah, Donovan Mitchell, a 5-year extension with the Jazz. That one could be worth as much as $195 million, cementing his star status in the Orlando bubble. He averaged nearly 37 a game in Utah's